The forbidden planet. The sky was red. Jack's ship trembled as it came down through thick clouds. Smoke hissed from broken engines. Sparks flew across the control panels. Alarms screamed. But Jack kept his hands steady on the controls. He had no choice. He had to land. Now. With a hard crash and a long skid, the ship slammed into the ground. Metal screamed, trees broke, dust flew. Then, silence. Jack groaned, pulling himself from the pilot seat. His forehead was bleeding. He wiped the blood away and stood up slowly. "Where am I?" he whispered. He looked outside. This planet was not on any map. His ship's system had called it a red zone, forbidden, dangerous, unknown. Still, something had pulled him here. He stepped outside. The air was warm and sweet. Strange plants grew tall and bright, glowing with soft light. Giant trees had silver bark and purple leaves. The sky looked like it was always sunset. And the silence was strange. No birds, no wind, no animals. Jack checked his scanner. No signs of life. But then, he heard something. A sound like a whisper. Soft. Echoing. He turned fast. No one. He walked further, through glowing bushes, over soft moss. Then he saw it. A figure, watching him from behind a tree. She was tall, slim, glowing faintly blue. Her skin shimmered like water in moonlight. Her eyes were big, sad, and golden. She looked afraid, but she didn't run. Jack didn't move. He raised his hands slowly. "Won't hurt you," he said softly. The alien woman didn't speak. She tilted her head as if listening. Then more appeared. 1, 2, 4 of them. All female, all glowing, all silent. They stood together, watching Jack. They looked curious, tired, almost broken. Jack stepped forward carefully. "Who are you?" he asked. "Do you understand me?" The first woman blinked slowly. She placed her hand over her heart, then pointed at Jack, then touched her belly, and shook her head. Jack's brow furrowed. I don't understand." One of the women walked closer. Her lips moved. The words were broken, strange. "Man from stars, help." Jack's heart beat faster. "Help? Help how?" She looked at the others, then back to him. Her voice cracked. No more men. No more children. All gone. Dying." Jack stood frozen. They were asking for help, not just for food, not just for shelter. They needed help to survive, to continue their race. Jack took a step back. I don't know if I can." Suddenly the ground shook. Boom. A distant sound echoed through the trees. The alien women gasped. One of them grabbed Jack's arm. "Come. Now. Bad ones come." "Bad ones?" She pulled him with surprising strength. Jack ran. They dashed through the glowing forest. Trees rushed past. Jack's feet pounded the mossy ground. Behind them he heard heavy footsteps. Cracks of branches. Something was following them. They stopped near a large tree with a door hidden in the trunk. One of the women pressed her palm against it. The door opened. Inside. Safe. Jack had no choice. He went in. The inside was warm, round, and glowing. A soft hum filled the space. It felt alive. The alien women gathered around him. One brought water. Another gave him a glowing fruit. The leader, the one who first spoke, knelt before him. Her voice was soft, but steady. "You, only one, our last hope." Jack looked into her eyes. So much pain, so much loneliness. But behind that, a spark of trust. The room went quiet. Jack didn't know what to say. He had come to this planet by accident. Or maybe fate brought him here. One thing was certain. He wasn't alone anymore, and something bigger than he could understand had just begun. Jack sat on the soft, glowing floor of the strange tree home. His body still ached from the crash, but his mind was spinning even more. The alien women stayed quiet. They didn't ask for anything, they just watched him. One of them brought him more water. Another offered a strange fruit that tasted like sweet melon and mint. They treated him gently, almost like a guest, or maybe something more. Jack broke the silence. Why me? Why now? The woman who spoke before, slightly taller than the others, with silver patterns on her skin, stepped forward. Her name, he learned, was Ilara. Ilara spoke in slow, careful English. You, not first human to come, but first to survive this world. Jack raised an eyebrow. What happened to the others? Her golden eyes looked away. Dead. This planet, not kind. Not to outsiders, not to us. Another woman whispered something in their own tongue. Ilara nodded, then looked back at Jack. We are the Ilari. Long ago, we had balance. Males and females lived in harmony, but then came the sorrow years. Jack leaned forward. Sorrow years? Ilara looked up at the glowing ceiling, her voice grew softer. Our sun changed. Many males became sick. They left. Died. Some were taken. Others never returned. Only we remain. Jack felt a chill. How long has it been? 200 years, Ilara whispered. We are the last. Another woman, younger and smaller, stepped forward. Her name was Leary. She looked barely grown. She held up a small glowing stone and showed it to Jack. A hologram floated above it. Images of families, children, laughter. A world full of color and joy. Then, the images faded, and only darkness remained. We keep memories, Leary said, but memories do not bring new life. Jack looked around at them. They weren't just desperate, they were fading. Their movements were slow, their glow dimmer than before. They were like flowers waiting for the last rain. You really think I can help? Jack asked. Ilara stepped closer. Your DNA. It matches just enough. Our ancestors left something in stars. A hope. A message. A human may one day return. We did not believe it. But you came. Jack ran his hand through his messy hair. You want me to reproduce with your people? The women looked at one another. Some looked down in shyness. Others looked up with quiet hope. Ilara shook her head gently. Not just that. We do not want only life. We want love. Trust. A future. Jack blinked. But I'm just one man. You are enough to begin. Suddenly there was a loud buzzing sound. The wall of the tree lit up with pulsing lights. Ilara rushed to the wall and touched a vine. A glowing image appeared, red dots moving fast across a map. What's going on? Jack asked. Ilara's voice turned sharp. Hunters. They roam these lands. They kill anything left living. They do not care who we are. Jack stood. Can we run? Ilara shook her head. Not this time. We hide. The tree will protect. Leary pressed a palm to the wall. Vines unwrapped from the walls and covered the entrance like a shield. The room dimmed. Jack sat back down. The air grew quiet again. The moment felt heavy. He looked at Leary and the others. You've been hiding like this for years? Ilara answered. Yes. We hope. We wait. But time runs out. Jack looked at his hands. He was a mechanic, a pilot, a wanderer. He had no training for this. But here, on a planet forgotten by most of the galaxy, he was the only light left in their dark world, and something inside him said, he couldn't walk away. Not from them. Not now. Jack didn't sleep that night. Even though the tree home was quiet and warm, his thoughts kept spinning. They believed he was the answer to a dying race. They didn't just want his help. They were placing their last hopes on him, and now they were taking him somewhere deeper, somewhere sacred. The next morning, Ilara and Leary led Jack through the glowing jungle. Strange plants moved gently as they passed. Some opened like flowers, others hissed and closed, but none of them touched Jack. "It knows you," Ilara said softly. "What does?" Jack asked. "The planet. Virelia is alive. It listens. It remembers." Jack didn't answer. He just followed, heart pounding. They stopped at the edge of a quiet lake. The water glowed blue, still as glass. In the middle stood a tall stone tower made of silver and crystal, half covered in vines. Floating bridges moved slowly in circles, around it, like lazy ribbons. "That is the Temple of Heart," Ilara whispered. Jack tilted his head. "A temple?" Ilara nodded. "Our queen lives there. She never leaves. She waits." "For you," Jack blinked. "For me?" "She saw you in dreams before you came. She called you the star-blooded one." Jack gave a small laugh. "No pressure, huh?" Leary giggled quietly. The bridge floated toward them and stopped. They stepped on, they crossed the glowing lake. Jack noticed something strange. Small creatures beneath the water followed the bridge, watching him with curious eyes. They didn't look afraid. They looked excited. The floating bridge stopped at the temple entrance. 2 tall alien women stood guard. Their eyes glowed white. They held staffs shaped like twisting vines. But they did not stop Jack. They bowed. He stepped inside. The temple was quiet, warm. The walls shimmered like starlight. At the center sat a figure on a crystal throne. She was tall, graceful, older than Ilara, but far more powerful. Her skin was silver blue. Her long hair floated gently behind her like it moved on its own. Her eyes opened slowly, golden, deep, wise. Jack froze. She smiled. "You have come," she said softly. At last, Jack stepped forward. "You're the queen?" She nodded. "I am Sorel, the last queen of the Ilari." He swallowed hard. "Why me?" Sorel stood. She walked slowly, as if each step meant something. "You carry warmth," she said. "We are cold. You carry heart. We are fading. And you carry hope." Jack looked confused. "I don't even know what I'm supposed to do." Sorel stopped in front of him. "You are not here to be used," she said gently. "You are here to be trusted. That is rare in this galaxy." Jack felt something stir in his chest. These weren't just survivors, they were proud people holding on to the last pieces of their soul. Sorel placed her hand over his heart. "We ask only what you choose to give. Not because we are weak, but because we believe you are strong enough to care." Jack stared at her. Her voice was soft, but her words hit him harder than any weapon. "Help us," she whispered. "Not as a savior, but as a partner." Jack looked around the temple, at the glowing walls, at the silent guards, at Leary, who stood near the door, watching him with innocent eyes full of hope. And he realized they didn't just want survival, they wanted connection. Jack finally nodded. "I'll try," he said. Sorel smiled. A deep light returned to her eyes, and for the first time in years, the queen of the Ellery felt something ancient stir again. A future. Jack thought meeting the queen would be the final step. He was wrong. That evening, Ilara woke him from his rest. Her face was tight, her voice serious. "You must come. Now." Jack followed her through narrow glowing tunnels beneath the temple. The air was thick. The light dimmed as they walked deeper. He could feel it, something heavy in the air, something old. They reached a large round chamber hidden below the roots of the temple. The walls were made of black stone, and strange symbols pulsed with faint light. A circle of tall alien women stood waiting. Their robes were darker, their expressions cold. Alara stepped aside. One of them spoke. So, the human lives. Jack straightened his back. Yeah, and I'm still trying to understand what's going on. Another elder spoke, her eyes narrow. You do not belong here. You are a danger. Alara whispered to Jack. This is the Council of Shadows. They protect the old ways. They do not trust outsiders. Jack nodded slowly. I don't blame them. The first elder stepped closer. Her name was Varen. Her voice was sharp like broken crystal. We have kept our people alive through silence, through hiding, through caution. Now you come from the stars and suddenly, we are supposed to trust you? Jack held her gaze. I didn't ask for any of this. But I also didn't crash here on purpose, Varen sneered. And yet you speak with the queen, she lets you touch our future. Another elder named Sarah stepped forward. She looked gentler, sad even. We are dying, human. That is true. But some of us believe dying with honor is better than risking the last of us on someone we do not know. Jack felt heat rise in his chest. I'm not asking you to risk anything, I'm offering what I can. Varen raised a hand. And what if you turn on us? What if your people follow you here and enslave us? Jack stepped forward now. My people don't even know. This place exists, and if I leave, I'll be lucky to survive. I didn't come here to conquer. I came here because I crashed, and I stay because you asked me to. The room went silent. Even Varen blinked. Jack continued, voice steady. I've seen how lonely you all are, how tired. You don't want a savior. You want someone to care, someone to fight with you, not against you. I don't have all the answers, but I'm not your enemy. For a moment, no one spoke. Then, something unexpected happened. Sarah, the soft-eyed elder, stepped closer to Jack. She reached out and touched his hand. Her skin was cool, her voice low. You remind me of someone. Long ago, I loved a male like you. He was brave, foolish, kind. He died, but now you stand here. She turned to the others. Perhaps it is not the end yet. Varen frowned. Words are easy, she said, but actions, they speak louder. She pulled a small glowing seed from her sleeve. Then prove it. Jack looked at the seed. What is that? A test, Varen said. This is a heart seed. It links emotions. If you touch it while thinking lies, it will burn. If you touch it with truth, it will bloom. Jack looked down at the strange glowing seed. It pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. Alara nodded at him. You don't have to. But Jack had already reached out. He took the seed in his palm and closed his eyes. Care, he thought. I didn't come to hurt them, I want to help. Nothing happened for a few seconds. Then it glowed brighter. Brighter. The shell cracked, and a small glowing flower bloomed in Jack's hand. The council gasped. Varen stepped back, stunned. Sarah smiled, tears in her eyes. Alara whispered, You did it. The flower floated from Jack's hand and dissolved into light. The Council of Shadows had seen enough. For now, the human was accepted, but shadows do not leave so easily, and not all hearts bloom. The next day, the air in the temple felt different, lighter, warmer. Word had spread across the hidden Aluri camps. The human had passed the heartseed test. Some still feared him, but many now watched him with cautious hope. Jack stood in front of a large stone mirror inside a glowing chamber. Vines gently wrapped around the walls. The light here was soft blue. Alara adjusted the robe he wore. It was smooth and silver, made from living silk that shimmered when he moved. You're nervous, she said. Jack gave a dry laugh. A little. I'm about to take part in an alien ceremony I don't understand, to bond with a race I barely met. Alara smiled. You understand more than you think. The ceremony of connection is not about knowledge. It is about heart. Lyri entered, carrying a bowl filled with glowing petals and liquid light. She looked shy but happy. "The Queen waits," she said. They led Jack through a long hallway that opened to a wide stone circle under the open sky. 1,000 glowing vines curved above them like a dome. Alien women gathered silently around the edge, watching with calm, glowing eyes. At the center stood Queen Sorel. She wore a crown made of crystal feathers. Her eyes were gentle, but her presence was powerful. Jack stepped forward. Sorel raised her hands. "Today we do not ask the human for power. We ask for understanding, for unity, for truth. The ceremony of connection will show us who he really is, and who we are to him." She motioned to the ground. "Come, sit with me." Jack sat, across from her on a round glowing symbol. Between them, Leary placed the bowl of petals and light. Sorel looked into his eyes. "Place your hands in the water." Jack obeyed. The liquid felt warm, like starlight. The petals melted into mist. "Now close your eyes," Sorel said. Jack did. The world disappeared. Suddenly, he wasn't in the temple. He was somewhere else, floating in a sea of light. His body was gone. Only thoughts, feelings. He saw flashes, a memory. A little alien girl, Leary, crying over a grave. Alone. He felt her pain. Then, a memory of himself. Alone in his ship, staring at a picture of Earth. A planet he left behind. A family he never saw again. Now she felt his pain. Then, a bright memory. A young Allery mother hugging her newborn. Joy. Warmth. Then, his father's voice saying, "Be better than me, son." Regret, pride, love. More flashes, more feelings. It wasn't just Sorel now. It was all of them. Jack felt 100 different hearts beating inside him. Fear, hope, love, loneliness, laughter. His own memories flowed into them, and theirs flowed into him, and slowly, the connection formed. He was not just a human to them anymore. He was Jack, a man, a soul, a spark. They were not just aliens anymore. They were people, tired, beautiful, real. When Jack opened his eyes again, tears ran down his cheeks. Sorel's eyes were wet too, but she was smiling. The crowd around them bowed their heads. Not in worship, but in quiet respect, Sorel reached forward and touched his chest. "You have seen us," she said, "and you did not run." Jack smiled weakly. "Guess I'm not the running type." She laughed, a soft musical sound. Then her voice turned serious. "Now, the choice is yours." Jack looked around. At Ilara, at Leary, at all the silent faces. He stood up. "I don't have much to give," he said, "but what I have, it's yours." The crowd breathed in, and for the first time in decades, the Alari cheered, not loud, not wild, but full of life, and Jack knew. This was no longer just about survival. This was about family. The stars were calm above Viralia. For the first time in years, the Alari slept without fear. But peace never lasts forever. Jack stood on the edge of the glowing lake that night, watching the water ripple. Since the ceremony of connection, he had started to feel like part of something. No longer just a visitor, but a thread in their story. Ilara walked beside him, holding a small stone that pulsed gently in her hand. "We never thought we'd hear laughter here again," she said. Jack smiled. "Neither did I." Just then the stone in her hand turned red. Her face froze. "No." A piercing sound cut through the night. An alarm. The lake's calm surface shattered as shockwaves rippled across it. From above, something dark and sharp fell from the sky. A black ship. It landed in the jungle with a heavy boom that shook the trees. Its metal hull was cracked and full of scars. Red lights blinked on its sides. A logo appeared on its side, familiar to Jack. His heart sank. Zaratek. Core. Ilara turned to him. You know them? He nodded slowly. They're bounty hunters. Mercenaries. They'll kill for credits, or worse. Leary ran up breathless. They are looking for you. What? Jack stepped forward. You're not alone, Ilara said. Someone must have tracked your ship's crash signal. From the jungle, machines burst through the trees, metal dogs with red glowing eyes. They sniffed the ground, scanned the air, and growled. Alari warriors began rushing out from the tree homes, readying their vine spears and crystal bows. But they had never faced weapons like these. And the ship door opened. Out stepped a tall, armored figure with a long cloak made from the teeth of dead beasts. His voice rang through the jungle. Human. We know you're here. Hand yourself over and we'll spare the women. Jack clenched his fists. He's lying. Ilara looked at him. We can hide you. Jack shook his head. No. I won't run again. He grabbed a spear from a nearby warrior. You're not trained, Ilara whispered. Jack looked at her, eyes steady. Then I'll learn fast. The alien warrior from Zaratek raised his hand and the metal beasts began charging. The Alari formed. A wall, their spears glowing. The two sides clashed. The jungle exploded into light and fire. Jack fought beside them, swinging his spear like a staff. He knocked down one of the machines, slamming it against a tree. Sparks flew. Beside him, Leary used her mind pulse to overload another machine. But for every one they stopped, two more came. The leader from Zaratek walked calmly through the battle. Stepping over vines and broken weapons, he pointed at Jack. There you are. He lifted a blaster, fired. Jack didn't have time to dodge, but a figure jumped in front of him. Ilara. The blast hit her shoulder. She cried out and fell. Jack roared. He tackled the leader with all his strength. The two crashed to the ground, rolling. The leader hit him in the face hard. You think you belong here, human? You're just a tool, and tools break. Jack gritted his teeth. Maybe, but even a broken tool can still fight. He drove a broken spear tip into the mercenary's leg. The man screamed. The jungle itself began to react. Vines shot up from the earth, grabbing the machines, tearing them apart. Queen Sorel had arrived. Her eyes glowed white with energy. This is our home, she shouted. The planet listened. Trees moved. Roots crushed the enemy ship. The bounty hunters screamed as the jungle swallowed them. Within minutes, it was over. Only silence remained. Jack knelt beside Ilara. Her shoulder was burned, but she was alive. He helped her sit up. She looked at him weakly. You stayed, she whispered. He nodded. Of course I did. The queen stepped forward, placing her hand over Ilara's wound. Light passed from her fingers and the injury began to heal. We were nearly lost, she said. Jack looked at the broken machines. Not anymore, Sorel gazed at him. You fought not because you had to, but because you chose to. Jack didn't say anything, but his heart was full. He had protected something worth saving, and the Alari knew. He was not just their last chance. He was their guardian now. The jungle was quiet again, but not the same kind of quiet as before. This time, it was peaceful. Not the silence of fear, but of healing. Days had passed since the attack. The broken machines were now scattered metal bones, swallowed slowly by the vines of Virelia. The enemy ship had been torn apart and dragged underground by the living roots of the planet. But Jack had stayed. He had earned that place, not with power, but with heart. Jack sat near the lake, fixing a broken vine spear. His hands were steady, his face calm. Leary came over with 2 cups of glowing juice. You still work like a mechanic, she teased. Jack smiled. Old habits. She sat beside him, kicking her feet over the water. Ilara's almost healed, she said. She wants to see you. Jack nodded, stood, and followed her into the village. The glowing tree homes had been rebuilt with help from the planet itself. The Alari had started to come out again. Not just the warriors, but mothers, artists, elders, even children Jack hadn't seen before. They weren't hiding anymore. They were beginning again. Inside one of the homes, Ilara lay, on a soft bed made of moss and light crystals. Her wound had left a pale scar on her shoulder, but her glow had returned. She smiled as Jack entered. "You look tired." Jack chuckled. "You should see the other guy." Ilara sat up slowly. "You didn't have to fight for us, you know." No, Jack said, "but I wanted to." She took his hand gently. "We're not just surviving anymore because of you, we're living." Later that evening, the Alari gathered in the temple under the stars. Queen Sorel stood at the center with Jack beside her. "This night marks the start of something new," she said. "Not the return of our old ways, but the birth of a future we never imagined." She turned to Jack. "You came here by accident, but you stayed by choice. You gave us your courage, your kindness, your trust, and now we offer you something in return." She held up a crystal pendant, shaped like a leaf of their sacred tree. "This binds you to our people, not as a king, not as a leader, but as family." Jack looked around at the faces glowing in the starlight. He saw Leary smiling, Ilara beside her, children clapping quietly, warriors nodding in respect, elders watching with silent tears. He accepted the pendant and bowed slightly. "Thank you," he said. "I came here broken. I thought I'd lost everything. But I found something more." He paused. A home. In the weeks that followed, change swept through Veralia. Jack taught the Alari how to repair and power old systems. In return, they showed him how to speak with the trees, feel the heartbeat of the planet, and listen to silence. The jungle grew brighter. New children laughed and played under the glowing canopy. For the first time in centuries, songs returned. To the Alari, Ilara walked at Jack's side each day, not as a queen or warrior, but as a friend. Maybe something more. One night, as they sat by the lake again, Jack whispered, "Do you think more humans will ever come here?" Ilara looked up at the stars. "Maybe." Jack looked too. "What do you think they'll find?" She smiled softly. "Hope, if you're the example." He didn't answer right away. Then he whispered, "If they do come, I'll be here to welcome them." So the legend grew, of a human who fell from the stars and became the light that helped a lost people bloom again, not with force, not with war, but with love, and the galaxy would never forget.